Welcome to the Ultimate Flip Over Sewing course. Let's get started. Please be sure you grab these things as I will be using every single thing that is pictured for this install from start to finish. Don't worry, these items will be in my Amazon storefront. You'll need a net, braiding gel, a few duck bill clips, a comb and an edge brush with a comb attachment, some hair moisturizer, some scalp oil, heat protectant, Ebin freeze spray, Essations regular hold finishing spray, several needles attached to thread, a 1/2-inch curling wand, a 1/2-inch flat iron, jumbo wrap strips, scissors, a flat iron, a hot comb, and of course, your hair extensions. For this tutorial, we'll be using 3 bundles of deep curly. However, please feel free to use whatever hair texture you want and apply the same methods that I'm about to teach you. Let's go ahead and get started. Please ensure your scalp and your hair is completely clean before installing any hair extensions. I begin to find my client's middle part, and then I will begin to section out her leave out. When sectioning out leave out, I usually like to start off at 1 inch. This does depend on the density and the fullness of your client's hairline. This particular model had a pretty healthy hairline. However, I'm going to let you know what I did to make sure this install was personalized to her. One pro tip is to follow the natural curvature of your client's head. This client had a little bit of sparseness in this area that I am parting out. And a great way to check that your wefts are going to blend is putting this comb directly behind the hairline. And if you do not see the metal through the comb, you're good to go. While no one's hairline is a straight line across, this leave out portion will be a bit curved. It is curved because I am following the natural curvature of her hairline to ensure her hair extensions blend seamlessly. I do this same exact method on the other side. Following the natural curvature of your client's head ensures that the install will fall very naturally and seamlessly when the install is complete. Please ensure you are taking your time when doing this step, as this is part of the foundation of your install, and if your foundation is not correct, the hairstyle will not be correct. Here I am showing you again, I am just following the natural curvature of the model's hairline. Please do this according to your client's hairline only. Once I have completed sectioning out her front, I will begin to work on her sides, as this will be a versatile flip over, meaning that the client will be able to put her hair up in a very high ponytail. This section should also be about 1 inch, but please also adjust if needed based on your client's hair density. While leaving out the entire perimeter is optional, I do like to make sure I ask, because most people do enjoy the versatility of wearing this style in a ponytail. So when in doubt, just ask your client if they want their hair to go up in a full ponytail. If not, please skip this step and jump straight into the braiding portion of this video. Once I have sectioned out all of her leave out, I am going to go ahead and braid everything away. This keeps my canvas clean and hairs out of my way as we enter the braiding process of this install. The braiding portion of this video is very simple. Each client will get about 10 braids, 5 on the left side and 5 on the right side. A good reference point to ensure you have 5 on the left and 5 on the right is making sure you start a part in the middle of your client's head and work one section at a time. Please also feel free to adjust the size of these braids based on your client's hair density. Take the braiding gel or lock gel or whatever you may have. This creates a bit of hold when creating this anchor braid. Your anchor braid should be the smallest braid in this entire install, as it will act as an anchor and foundation to ensure this install lasts. Take your anchor braid into the shape of an L, and then you stop and braid the other side into that first anchor braid, as you guys can see here. You should be left with that tail, and we will incorporate that tail in a moment. This next step is what I like to call the up, down braid pattern, which is braiding a braid and then continuing to feed it into the braid right next to it. If your hair is longer, incorporating the braid should start more at the top, but if your hair is shorter, the incorporation of the braid would start more at the bottom, near the nape of your client's head. This client's hair was a bit more on the longer side, which is why the braid is being fed in closer to the top. This method ensures that this install will remain flat with the least amount of tension and an appropriate amount of weight distributed throughout the entire install. So there isn't a bunch of bulkiness in the back or at the top, but all of the hair is evenly distributed throughout the braids. Here I am just showing you all again how that braid is being fed in at the top because of how long it is. This process is very repetitive, so please just watch as I am feeding each braid into the next to create this braid down. 5 braids were completed on the right side of the head, and I am just starting the other 5 on the left side of the head. Please continue the up, down motion for this braid pattern install. Here is another client for reference, as she has 5 braids, but the hair is still a bit shorter. As you can see, the incorporation of each braid is more towards the middle of the braid and not at the top. It doesn't matter the density or the length of your client's hair, the foundation does remain the same. The back of your install should be completely flat, just as it is pictured here. The braids are nice and neat, there is no tension, and the install is flat. After the braid down is complete, I go ahead and add my Design Essentials anti-itch butter and various oils to moisturize my client's scalp. For this next step, please ask your clients to hold the net flat as you sew the perimeter. Please also ensure you are using a firm net, as these are the best kinds of nets to use to allow sturdiness and durability for your client's install. Once your net is securely sewed down, please ensure you do not accidentally cut any thread when cutting out the excess net. Take your flat iron and press out your leave out. I use a generous amount of heat protectant before applying any heat to any hair. The comb chase method is preferred when doing this part of the install, but please do what you are comfortable with. This style does not require heat, but this particular video I am showing what the process looks like if you want to add heat. My 1/2 inch flat iron really helps with getting the tiny hairs that the bigger flat iron cannot catch. Once your hair is completely pressed out, go ahead and spray that Ebin freezing spray and ask your client to hold the blow dryer while it is on cool so that you are molding the hair into place. Please be sure to skip this step if you do not want to add heat to your install. When doing this step, I like to use the brush end of the edge brush and the comb end of the edge brush so that every single hair is in place. Once your hair is molded down, take your jumbo wrap strip and tie it around the perimeter of your leave out. This steps makes sure that the hair does not revert and it completely dries while we sew on the hair extensions. For this next step, you want to open up your first bundle completely, meaning it should be single wefted, and you want to start the weft 1 inch away from the anchor braid. This 1 inch allowance leaves space for when we close off the install at the very end. So please ensure you leave a 1 inch gap between each anchor braids before starting the weft. For those who know how to sew, go ahead and take this single wefted bundle and sew all the way around the anchor braid until you are met on the other side. For those who don't have experience on sewing, I'm going to explain that part in 1 second. Once you reach the other side of your anchor braid, please make sure you are leaving 1 inch of space before the start of that anchor braid. Remember, that 1 inch space will be the space that we use to close off the install. Go ahead and snip that weft, secure your thread one more time, and let's start with the first bundle. This first bundle will be placed behind your ear. When sewing, push the needle through the braid, through the net, just as so. You are going to wrap it around once, twice, and pull it through. This creates a double knot so that flipped over track does not move. Please keep in mind, using quality hair extensions makes this flip over method process very easy. I do not recommend the flip over method if your wefts are extremely thick, as the method will work, but the install will be bumpy. For those who know how to sew, please go ahead and sew this entire first bundle while keeping it behind the ear. This first bundle should not surpass the top of the ear. Moving on to your second bundle, we are continuing to fill in while sewing the tracks in a U shape only. The natural curvature of your client's head and the placement of your tracks will turn this install into a U, which is an indication that you are doing this install correctly. Now, to review, we are now on the second bundle. Your tracks are going into a U, meaning after every weft, you are taking it a step up, which will create that very natural and automatic U. If your wefts are really thick, please feel free to use that flat iron and flat iron those wefts. When wefts are really hot, they have less resistance and you will be able to fold them over better. As we are moving to the top of the head, continue to sew the tracks in a U shape. This portion of the install is very repetitive, so as long as you are sewing them in the shape of a U every single time and not sewing them in a straight line, you are doing it correctly. Here I will demonstrate another way to do the flip over method. Open up your weft, since we are double wefting, and sew about 1 inch on the right side of the weft and then flip it over just like so. Flip it over, hold it taut, and create that double knot, which will act as the flip over method. This step is optional, but after every bundle, I am wetting it down, applying a little product, brushing it out, and allowing it to air dry. Now, once you have reached the top and that U is starting to get smaller and smaller, I'm going to show you a different angle of what it should look like when you are closing off this install. This is a different client, but the same exact method as you are closing off that U. Once it is about 1 inch in space, that is when you will start sewing the wefts parallel to each other, meaning they should be on top of each other, like sandwiches. While still utilizing the flip over method, please ensure you are sewing these wefts extremely close to each other. You are going to want to repeat this method until you get to the very top of this install, and that is when you will sew that final inch of those anchor braids that we left out onto the weft. This officially closes off the flip over install. Now, if you have opted to not use the heat method, this is the portion of the video where you will take your favorite curly hair products, water, and a detangling brush to define your curls to better blend with your hair extensions. While this video does not directly show how to do that, what's best is to twirl your natural hair and the hair extensions with your fingers so that they mend and mesh with each other to create a more natural flip over install. Since we are using heat for this install, I popped my client under the dryer just to dry that very last bundle that we wet down when closing off the install. After your client is under the dryer, you may remove the paper wrap and begin to take that 1/2 inch curling wand and curling your client's hair into the hair extensions. I have found that taking a little piece of hair and a little piece of hair extensions work best when blending out this hairstyle. Once you have blended everything on the left side, move to the right side with alternating curling pieces towards the face and away from the face. I sprayed a little bit of the Essations finishing spray and molded her leave out again. This adds a little bit of shine after her hair was wrapped up with the paper strip and dried it out a little bit. At this point, you may do your final touches with your baby hairs. I went ahead and added some black hairspray behind her hairline to create an even more seamless blend. That we have concluded the end of this install, please let me know if you guys have any questions in the comments. I'm happy to answer or clarify anything that I explained. Please be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!